Alright, this is going to be Hungry Ghost any percent with Christine. Loading from a save, and go. So Christine technically is the slower of the two characters. She is our crossbow specialist. So she does half the damage with the spear as Christopher, but double the damage with the crossbow. As a result, she's a bit more of a technical run, technically speaking. Mostly because we have to actually, have the ammo for the crossbow in order to do optimal damage. Also, anytime we have to break open a box or a barrel or anything like that, it's going to take extra hits. So, like with Chris, breaking open a barrel takes 3 hits usually. For Christine, it's going to be 4. Yeah, everything's just going to be like that. But right now, just got to get through the little tutorial area. Say hello to our friend the guide. Run forward a little bit. So one other thing with this game that's kind of weird is the stamina system. So you do have a sprint button. You actually have two, R1 and X, both are sprint buttons. R1 resets the camera too, whereas X doesn't. And when you run out of stamina, it actually refills immediately. So as soon as you let go of the button, you can just push it back down and start sprinting again, which makes it more of a timing check than anything. Except, sometimes you release the button, push it back down again, and it doesn't actually make you go any faster, so then you just have to do it again. So that's always fun. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna grab our crossbow bolts here. That gives us a starting base of 20. There are a couple other spots where we can collect bolts. I'm only gonna collect one more pile of bolts throughout the game. But we're done with this area, so we're gonna move on. This next area, we have to break open a barrel to trigger a cutscene. It doesn't matter which of the 2 barrels in this area we break open. The little talking corpse with the head in it is going to be in whichever one we break first. So there he is. We're done. We're going to turn around and break the other barrel so that we can actually continue on. And then I'm going to go ahead and charge my spear so that I can break open this barrel on the first hit. Cut this rope to let down the hanged man. And try to just keep these ghouls at bay, stay a bit of distance so that they don't attack me before I can talk to our friend here. So he just kind of laughs at us a little bit and then floats off. Technically, there would be a dialogue choice here if we had actually done any exploring and found one of the little purple notes that are scattered throughout the game. But since we didn't, we have no connection to this man. And yeah. We do still get a spirit orb as a reward. Which doesn't do a whole lot for us in the context of these runs. It does refill our spirit and HP, but that's really about it. Now that this door is open, however, we can move on to the next area. Alright, and in here there's a hanging corpse with a dirty, torn photo that we need to collect. But first, there's also a little vortex in the wall to my right. I'm gonna go ahead and get into that. Don't need the apples, but I do want the bolts. So, now that that's done, we can collect the photo. There'll be a little ghosty mouth that tries to grab us, so we say no. And thank you very much. Then this guy, he asked for the photo that we just picked up. We can give it to him or we can refuse. Giving it to him is a little faster just because if you refuse, then he just asks again and wastes a bit of time that way. So we give it to him. Then move on to the ladder. That is blocked by a corpse, so we do have to destroy the corpse first. With Chris, that only takes 3 hits. With Christine, it takes 6. And we're gonna come over here and break open the mud on the wall here and grab a crank. This crank goes to a well that's in the area right below us to the right. Thankfully, did not have a ghosty hand pop up there. Those come up every now and then. And then this well is going to offer us a choice between water bags and a key. We're going to grab the key because that opens the quickest path to the end. The water bags would allow us to backtrack a little bit where we broke the oil barrel and lit it on fire so that we could douse that fire and continue on that alternative pathway. After this, we're triggering some events that we're going to be ignoring and just opening the door and going on to the next area. So probably a good point to point out something with the crossbow. I did mention that it does more damage for Christine. Technically speaking, we could be using that to break objects a little more quickly, especially barrels and whatnot. The issue is that the crossbow actually does less damage the farther away from an object you are. So the amount of time save that you get from breaking the barrels is kind of lost by the fact that the crossbow has to, be drawn back. And also the fact that it uses ammo, and ammo is precious. We're going to want all of the ammo we can possibly have with us to bring into the one ghost fight in this run. So, door's unlocked. We can move on. Gonna get a little cutscene here of a hole being broken into the wall. Gonna head straight into there, dodge a ghost that spawns here, and just kind of diagonal strafe our way into the next area. This is going to be what the game refers to as the gallows. There is the spirit of a woman being hung from the tree, and we're given a choice here where we can either cut her down or break an oil barrel next to a campfire and light her on fire. Naturally, one of those choices is faster than the other, so I'm very sorry. Considering we haven't done any, NPC side quests throughout the game, we would still end up having to fight this ghost regardless. Even if we had saved her, she would get mad at us and attack us for no reason. But yeah. So now we're in the ghost fight. I want to stay as close to the ghost as possible to make sure I'm achieving maximum damage, which is not ideal. Doing good so far. I don't think I've missed any yet. I also, if possible, want to try to attack while the ghost is attacking. There's no counter damage system as far as I'm aware, but the ghost does have the ability to dodge attacks, and it won't dodge attacks if it is attacking. Well, the eyes just turned red. I'm out of bolts, so gotta switch over to the spear now. Anytime I'm up close and personal, I'm just gonna do quick singular jabs. When it runs away, that's when I can do a charge attack, because a charge attack, there we go, fight's done. That's really quick actually, nice. But charge attacks with the spear, they do the equivalent of 5 jabs, but they take the time of 6 jabs to reach that maximum charge, so it's not optimal DPS to do just charge attacks unless there is some amount of time that it takes for you to get to the enemy between strikes. With Linda's ghost defeated, though, the door to the next area is now available. We do have to actually open a like skull chest key here. We don't need to grab anything from it, but we do have to open it. Not because opening the chest is strictly required to move on, but there is a fate value that the game uses to judge your progression, and we have to be over 50,000 points in order to be able to move on instead of just get stuck in a loop in this area. So opening the chest gets us to that point value. We go through the door. We're now in the final area of the game. And now we have one encounter left. Just to make it easier, especially since we don't have any bolts and our spear damage is terrible, I'm going to grab some sparkling or holy water from this little alcove. Trigger this little hand thing that tries to pull you down into hell. And we're going to trigger the fight by jamming our spear into the blue stuff around it. Equip the water. Wait for it to spawn fully, throw it, and yeah. The holy water is a one-hit kill on those enemies every time, so very handy to have right there. Now our little ghost friend is going to ask for us to give him something. Unfortunately, we have nothing to give him, so we're just gonna tell him no. And now we just have a few little judgment checks before we can reach Final Judgment and finish the game. So we're going to go through these doors of fate to enter the Gates of Judgment. Our wonderful friend the guide is going to meet with us one last time to look into our inventory and judge us based on how many items we have remaining. After that, we get into this hallway up ahead that is actually a disguised boss arena. If we had done more during the game and gotten a high enough fate value, these walls on either side of us would expand into a full arena, and once we trigger this door, which we're just going to jam our spear into, this fella here, Mr. Grim Reaper Supreme, would jump out of the door and attack us. However, since we have such a low fate value, he's just like, don't really care about you, you're just not gonna achieve anything anyway, and he lets us through. So now time is coming up, we just gotta skip a couple cutscenes and succumb to Judgment, and there we go. That's a very solid run.